Our final speaker tonight, scheduled speaker, is a distinguished Toastmaster and a friend for many years. He has been a member of Riverside Breakfast Club 1348, uninterrupted, over 50 years. During all those years, the club has been one of the strongest clubs in the district. He will share his ideas on helping your club to be consistently President's Distinguished. During the 2008-2009 Toastmaster year, Tom served as District 12's 20th district governor and led District 12 to distinguished status. All areas in the district that year finished distinguished or better. That was the first time. It never happened in District 12 before at that point. I think he did it the following year too. Please help me welcome distinguished Toastmaster, past district governor, and qualified speaker and Speakers Bureau co-chair, Tom Jameson.
Thank you, Richard, for those kind words, some of which I wrote and some of which you dug up on your own. So thank you for that. In the fall of 1968, I walked into a Toastmaster meeting at the invitation of my brand new boss, the principal of the school where I was teaching, a first-year California teacher. And he was the president of Club 1348. I looked around the room and I said, what am I doing here? I have no business being in this room with all these doctors and lawyers. There was a school board member, the county assessor, all kinds of really important and bright and intelligent people. And I thought, why am I, okay, I'll go to one meeting. But no, they asked me to come back. Why would these people want to have me in their group? And I kept coming back. And finally, when I did join, I couldn't imagine the honor of belonging to this particular club, because this club had been around for about 10 years at the time and had always been strong. Once upon a time, it had a congressman that belonged to it and all kinds of other important people in the community, member, the citizen of the year, and so on and so on. And I thought, I have no business being next to these people. And it wasn't for just a few years after that I found out that all Toastmasters clubs weren't like that. They had typically 25 to 30 members. One time over the history of the club, they had well over 40, and they had to add an extra meeting in order to accommodate all of the members. But it was just amazing. And somehow, we look for officers all the time. They didn't ask me to be an officer right away. They somehow assumed that being sergeant at arms is what you had to start at sergeant at arms and work your way through those 7 officers over a period of 3.5 years. And so you had to prove your mettle, kind of like what Lance said in terms of you're owning your club. And so they kind of expected the sergeant at arms to get there on time on a regular basis. And that was a more difficult task for me then finally I learned that, if you want to do this, you better do it right. And I was honored with the idea of being sergeant at arms. And as I went through the chairs and as I became president, I stood up there and I don't believe the honor of being the president of this particular club. But I found that all clubs weren't like that. This club ran like a clock, and it still does. It starts on time. It starts at 7 o'clock in the morning and it ends at 8:30 in the morning. One time, 20 or 30 years later, I knew a member who I had known forever, a good friend, and I had been president for the second time. And he came up to me and said, things. But they thought well of their members, and when members achieved something, they recognized it, which of course all of our clubs should always do. So they were doing the right things. In fact, one time I saw them stand up, 14 members in the room had been club presidents. So they had a history of continuing, and they maintain that to today. And I think Sonny will know better than I probably, but I think it's been 15 years anyway that they've been presidents distinguished in a row. But like I said, all clubs aren't like that. I also belong to another club that has consistently very good, usually President's Distinguished, and they never start on time. They never end on time. They don't sign up for their speeches ahead of time until the very week before. They just had to kind of almost throw it in a basket and people speak, but they do something else that Lance mentioned that was important, because they always have fun. If you don't have fun, that's one of the biggest keys to a successful club. If you don't have fun, even if you're not accomplishing all the educational goals, you're not becoming President's Distinguished, if you're having fun, the club will probably continue to exist. Now, obviously, you need to meet the needs of the members. Now, that's my other biggest key to a successful club that will become distinguished and President's Distinguished. If you don't meet the needs of the member, and so Lance also mentioned that, finding out, some people talk about moments of truth, but as a program you might want to follow, but find out what your members really are trying to get out of the club, and that will help them lead you to getting that buy-in from your members. One of the keys, and I remember sitting in meetings and hearing, oh, we've got to be President's Distinguished, and getting bored. What we need to do is convince the members of the why. Why do you want to have a President's Distinguished club? And the why is that it will be a strong club. It'll be a club that I want to come here, that I will get the things out of it that I want to get out of it, and I will grow. And with everybody working, not just those 7 officers, with everybody working, you have a much better chance of achieving that success. Now, Melinda mentioned special events. So having those special events is important. Doing those things add a little excitement. Recognize your members and making sure that everyone feels they're a part of the program. Meeting those members' needs and making sure that you have done those typical things. I kind of think of the Distinguished Club program as kind of like, well, that is the logic of any organization, Boy Scouts or Kiwanis or whatever it is. You don't have dedicated officers who know what they're doing. They've been to training, have a program that is fun and interesting that people want to participate in, and have people, the educational program, following the program of doing the things that are expected of a program, if it's Boy Scouts camping out, if it's Kiwanis doing something else. And so follow the program, have your officers trained, and be looking for new members. I noticed even with Master Motivators, up to 25% every year were leaving on that list that she put out. So you will have to always go after those 6 or 8 new members. And I have a cute story. Never give up on a member. We once chased after a member that had been paying dues, believe it or not, for 10 years and got them to come back and give one speech to finish their CC. So never give up on members. Connie is, my wife's in a club that somebody came back after 30 years. And never give up on those old members, and never give up on a member that's in the club. Remember how great bragging about how great my club was. The worst speech I ever heard in Toastmasters, the members of the club tried very hard to make sure that person didn't quit and stayed in the club so they could grow. Helping those members and believing in your members and helping them achieve their goals is what's important. Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Tom.